The Michael Jordan Pog and Sergeant Slaughter have finally come up with a game they can enjoy together. What game is that? It's Basketbrawl for the Atari 7800 Pro system, which has a basketball and brawling. It fits. Let's go ahead and take Basketbrawl, pop it in my Atari 7800 Pro system, and see how it holds up today. Let's go to the game. Basketbrawl was published by Atari and carries a copyright year of 1990, making it one of the final releases on the system. 2 years later, Atari would also make a version of Basketbrawl for the Atari Lynx. Basketbrawl is a basketball game for 1 or 2 players and is in many ways very similar to the arcade game Arch Rivals, which came out the previous year. At the menu screen, you can select if you want to play with 1 or 2 players, if you want to play 1-on-1 or 2-on-2, if you want the human players to be on the same team or different teams for the 2-on-2 mode with 2 players, if you want the game to last 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 6 minutes, and if you want the difficulty to be set at easy, medium, or hard. After you select your options, you can choose your character from 6 different choices. If you're playing a 2-on-2 game with a computer-controlled teammate, the computer will randomly select your teammate for you. Each character is unique, and the manual does a great job giving you a profile for each one. Here's what the manual says for them. It starts by telling you that you can increase your character's health, speed, and power by running over power-up icons, which I'll talk about later. However, each character was born with certain shooting abilities. Such things are genetic. There's no way to increase your character's shooting ability. Vinny Beat Silly was born mean. Vinny's father tried to soothe the boy's rage by enrolling him in a gym. While training for the Golden Gloves, Vinny heard about Basketbrawl. It was a dream come true, a chance to bust heads without wearing those sissy boxing gloves. His raw power and savage meanness make him a natural on the court. Vinny's favorite pastimes are watching kung fu movies and chewing on barbed wire. Vinny is very fast and has average power, but he is so busy bashing heads that he never takes the time to practice his shooting. Eric Buster Williams had a dream. For as long as he could remember, Buster Williams planned to play professional hoops. He practiced day and night, 7 days a week, and he was hot. But his practice got in the way of his schoolwork. Then came a tragic accident. Since he never went to school, he couldn't read the warning label on his electric razor. When he tried to shave in the shower, he got the shock of his life. Something in that surge of electricity turned Buster into a bloodthirsty madman and a lousy shooter. Now he terrorizes the basketball courts, dribbling heads instead of basketballs. Buster is an average shooter, and he's not very strong, but he is quick. Jerome /Gordon was raised in a high-rise uptown apartment. His mother was a wealthy brain surgeon. His father made his fortune on Wall Street. Little Jerome wanted nothing to do with the world of the wealthy. He rebelled by joining a punk rock band and changing his name to Slash. One night, while dancing the pogo, Slash discovered his natural jumping ability. He soon learned to use that skill on the basketball court. Slash's deep secret? He owns 40% of a major computer corporation and 3 designer neckties. Slash is the best shooter in the city, but his speed and power are merely average. Bruce Bruiser Johnson was born in the heart of Brooklyn and learned to be tough at an early age. His mother used to steal his dessert every night, but Bruiser got even. While his mother grew fatter by the day, Bruiser worked out at the local gym. One night after dinner, Mama reached for her son's jelly donut. Bruiser lifted her by the ear and threatened to throw her out the window. Now she always gives him her dessert. Bruiser's hobbies include breaking down doors with his head and writing love poems to his kitten. Bruiser is more powerful than any other basketball player and has average speed and shooting ability. Tommy Biff Torrance first surfed when he was knee-high to a sea lion. Growing up in Southern Cal was like living in paradise. Then his dad got transferred to New York. At first, Biff was like totally stoked. He thought Long Island would be surrounded by gnarly waves. When he hit the city, he was bummed to the max. Where Biff thought he'd find surf, he found asphalt and boredom. So he joined a gang. The other gang members put him down because he said dude instead of yo. Then they saw him play basketball. He could dribble, shoot, and throw elbows with the best the city had to offer. Now, thanks to Basketbrawl, Biff no longer sits at home watching old Frankie and Annette movies. Even though Biff's grandma can run faster than he can, and she's been dead for years, he has good power, and he is an average shooter. Simon Smart Guy grew up believing that he had no athletic ability. That is until the day he tried a physics experiment. With his slide rule, compass, pocket calculator, and various other school tools, he discovered that the trajectory of a basketball is exactly equal to its velocity times the barometric pressure divided by the square root of the wind chill factor. Now he can shoot like a pro. He also enjoys measuring the amount of force a basketball player face has in relation to his right hook, while both players are running at full speed directly toward each other. In his spare time, Simon is writing a book about science and basketball called The Free Throw Factor Friction. Simon's calculations paid off. He is a good shooter with average power. Unfortunately, advanced calculus doesn't help him run very fast. During the game, you use the joystick to move around your player. On defense, the left button is used to jump. On offense, if you have the ball, you hold down the left button to start your shot and release the button to shoot. The success of your shot depends on your health, shooting ability, and distance from the basket. If your computer-controlled teammate has the ball, pressing the left button seems to tell him to shoot as well. When you have the ball, the right button passes. If you hold down the right button until you blink, you will be charged up and can throw a power throw that can potentially hurt the flashing opponent you select by pressing up on the joystick with and then releasing the button. Without the ball, using the right button will cause you to punch, hurting your opponents when you connect, but also potentially hurting your teammate as well. The player's health is represented by a number at the bottom of the screen. If it reaches 0, the player will be knocked out for the game. It is possible to knock out the computer-controlled opponents and just keep on racking up points until time runs out. And by the way, in basketball, every basket is worth 2 points. Whatever health you and your teammate have at the end of the game carries over to the next game if you win, so it's possible to start a new game with very low health. During the game, power-ups will appear on the court that can be collected by running over them, and their abilities can carry over to future games. The glass and melt gives you extra health, but your limit is 9 health points. The lightning bolt increases your speed, and the fist makes your punches more powerful. The game is refereed by Scott the Blade Savage, who doesn't call fouls but enjoys throwing knives at both teams, which can knock your health down if they connect with you. Naturally, you lose the game if you score the lesser amount of points when the time expires, but you also lose if your team gets knocked out. If you win a game, you'll be given new opponents, but if your teammate gets knocked out in a 2-on-2 game, you not only lose them for that game, but for any future games as well, putting you at a 2-on-1 disadvantage. The game also gives you video game style points as you play. You get 10 points per successful punch, 20 points for picking up a power-up, 50 points for making a basket, and 250 points for winning a game. You see the points you earn after each game and can add to your score as you continue winning games. Graphically speaking, I thought the game looked pretty good for a 7800 game with nice unique characters and 3 different courts to play on. Sound and music wise, I liked the opening theme, but in the game the sound effects were merely okay. Family friendly wise, due to the cartoony violence, my guess is that this game might get a T for teen rating if released today. At the time I researched on eBay including shipping, loose copies were going for $22 to $35 and one new copy sold for $50. So what did I think of Basketbrawl? It's funny, I actually enjoyed this game more today than I did when I covered it for the Atari 7800 Game by Game podcast last year. Perhaps I'm getting softer as I age. Is it the best game on the system? No, but it does look nice and control well. And I like the strategy aspect of deciding if you want to focus on scoring first or try to knock out your opponents and then rack up points later. I also like that the power-ups can carry through to the next game, and how in one background, there was a couple of dudes just chatting away and hanging out as you played. It's not as good as arch rivals, but I think that games like this could have helped the system compete with the NES if they came out earlier in the system's life. I also see Basketbrawl as potentially being a very fun 2-player game where you could team up or play against one another. But for me, I rank games based on the solo player experience. So where am I going to rank Basketbrawl? Really close to the last game I reviewed for the 7800, Super Skateboarding, which is currently at the 25 position. And since I enjoyed Basketbrawl a little bit more, it's going to take over Super Skateboarding's spot. So out of the 52 games I've now ranked on the 7800, Basketbrawl is punching into the 25 position. Basketbrawl is a solid arch-rival style game for the 7800. So what do you think of the game? Whether you agree or disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Also feel free to click the like and subscribe buttons and follow me both on the Facebook or the Twitter. And I'm a member of the Retro Junkies Network. At this time, I'd like to thank Isaac S. for supporting the show at patreon.com/NoSoreGamer. Thank you, Isaac. If you appreciate the work I do, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter starting at $1 a month. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care and watch out for knife-throwing refs.